Okay, folks, now this is an interesting theory because if we go back to episode 3, the scene of the, hooded, masked figure who came into Gary Border's hospital room and put something in his IV, which has not yet taken effect. My theory is that that will probably happen, unfortunately, while Andy is in the hospital room, or if she, is just coming out and then, his vitals start acting up and then she's accused of something. And oh boy, some people have said, hey, Jeremy, I understand your whole Jasmine thing and whatnot, but do you think it's possible that Morris is the person who is doing this? And that is an interesting theory because if we're really doing some season 1 callbacks, bringing Morris back into the fold would be interesting. If I remember correctly, he was the man that was having an affair with Jasmine, and she was having an affair with him instead of me. But in any case, yeah, he was the guy who also was a lawyer and knew Andy, and it was basically Morris, Jasmine, and Bellamy, Andy's old boss, that were working together in order to, use Andy as a pawn to eventually sue the firm and, just get a lot of money out of it. But essentially, we don't know, at least as if I remember, I don't recall if Bellamy and Morris went to jail. We know they got fired and Jasmine went to jail after, trying to kill Gary and Andy, but we never saw or heard of Morris and Bellamy again. So it would be interesting if we get a situation where they try to take revenge, even though technically speaking, I don't see why Morris would go after Gary unless it's some sort of like crime of passion of, hey, you got my woman locked up, even though that woman was your wife and she was the one that tried to kill you. And it's an interesting theory because like Crystal said, when I read the script, this is a terrible Crystal impression, by the way, but when I got the script, I was blown away. Like I know that when the fans find out who stabbed Gary, it will just be a huge surprise, like a shocker. And Morris was not one of my initial suspects. And I had a list of like 12 to like 20 people, and he was not anywhere on there. So it would be interesting if it was him, but I don't think it was. I honestly don't think it was. In terms of the person who stuck the IV, it would be interesting if we kind of get a tag team. Maybe it's more than one person. We have one person who's the stabber, one person who messed with the IV. And then let's say if Gary is resuscitated from whatever was done from the IV, another person comes into the fray and stabs him. Because remember, Bellamy, Morris, Jasmine were working together. So what if it's a situation now where, each one of them played a role? Hey, this is a deep cut if you're a DC animated fan. But remember that movie Batman, The Mystery of Batwoman or something like that? It was in like a Bruce Timm's animated universe, and Batwoman is like, who's Batwoman? And it turned out it was 3 different people. Spoiler alert for a movie that's like 25 years old at this point. But essentially, I wonder if a similar thing is happening here where the person who stabbed Gary is not the same person who tampered with the IV. And given the fact that I think it's safe to assume Gary will survive whatever's done to his IV, someone else might try to pop up and take him out. Especially if you look at what Robin's doing, which is sending Andy over to Gary's room. So, if she is being tailed by the feds or media and whatnot, they see her over her fiance as opposed to over at her ex's house. Because Jordan isn't some regular Joe Smo, he's a politician. So it stands to reason that, yeah, if Andy is seen going over there or coming out of there, somebody's going to have a photo of that. So that leads to another theory, which will be another video, of, I think the reports of Gary recovering made, media attention. So it stands to reason that if his fiance is seen at the hospital, that would also, it's like, oh yeah, so we have Andrea Barnes seen leaving the hospital or seen visiting her fiance as he's recovering from the stabbing. So I think that's going to make attention, and then that could lead to something else. But that's pretty much my theory there. Well, not my theory, my commentary on other people's theories of, could it be Morris? I don't know. I wouldn't even say it's a stretch, because at this point it could be anybody. So who knows? But let's talk about in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.